What's up everyone? Thanks for tuning in to At Home Dude. Today we're gonna go over 5 good mealtime habits for children. If you're new, just hit the subscribe button and check it out after this. So the first one we're gonna cover is introducing new foods. This one can be really frustrating because a lot of times kids are gonna waste food while you're trying to introduce the new food to them. One of the biggest tips I have is just to make sure it's very small amounts or very small pieces that they can pick up, because anytime anyone wants to try anything, they don't want to try a large piece of it in fear that it may be nasty, right? So when you consider your children, they have really small mouths and you just want to make sure it's a really small bite for them that they can try out first. So a great way people get children to try new foods is to give them some safe foods on their plate, maybe 2 safe foods. For example, it could be chicken nuggets that they always like to eat and mashed potatoes they like. And then the third food that you put on their plate will be the food that they're gonna be trying out. Maybe your child hasn't had celery, so you can throw a stick of celery on there, or you might wanna chop it up really small pieces so they can try a small piece of it. That's a great way to introduce new foods slowly, and over time they may initially just touch it, feel it, maybe they put it on their tongue a little bit, and then eventually, hopefully, they'll be eating it. The other great way to do it is to give them a snack so that it's the isolated food, so they're not really distracted by any other food. So you give them a snack of celery, and eventually they try it and mess with it. Maybe they don't like it a few times, and then hopefully, eventually, they'll actually put it in their mouth and try it. If they like something like ranch dressing or peanut butter, you can couple items with that to help them eat more. So our first habit's gonna lead into the second one, which is just giving them well-rounded meals. Obviously, you don't want to feed your kids a bunch of junk nonstop, but a lot of kids really eat a bunch of junk. And whether it's mac and cheese or grilled cheese sandwiches or pizza, pretty much all kids like these things and they're pretty much junk. So what you want to try to do is to join it with other foods that are more healthy. So if you have a mac and cheese, you can put broccoli in it, or maybe even cabbage, depending on what your child may accept. These things can help at least the bad foods be somewhat healthy. Additionally, when you give them their meals, you just want to make sure that you're giving them some vegetables, also throughout the day, some fruits and grains and different things like that. Just try to make sure you moderate what they eat and give them a rounded diet. Okay, so our third good habit is gonna be getting them their own table. This worked wonders for us, especially with multiple kids. It kind of established a baseline of structure for what they do when they eat. They get their seats, sometimes they move them around, so whether they're at the table or not, they go get their seats, they sit at the table, wait patiently, and then they get their meal and they eat their meal together. It kind of creates a mealtime atmosphere, and this really helped them to focus on eating and nothing else and actually eat their food. Their place tends to get really messy, and it really helps that it's not the main table getting messy. It's just their little table, and it's a little easier to clean, smaller area. And it also can develop independence for them because they feel like they have their own table, they have their own seat, and they're eating their dinner on their own. Okay, so the fourth good habit that I found was to push them along when it comes to drinking out of normal cups. My kids, I don't really give them juice very often, maybe once a day kind of thing. They're mainly drinking water throughout the day, and they have never complained about it actually. So I'm really blessed in that sense. But what I seem to notice is that they were ready for the regular cups before I really thought they were. And yes, there were little spills here and there, and kids have accidents, but it helps a lot if it's water for one, and usually they're ready for the cups before you actually think they are. Our number 5 good mealtime habit is going to be eating together. Ideally, this is eating together as a family, and I'll admit we don't do this as much as we should, but our kids do eat together, which is a good baseline for them in terms of establishing structure. Structure is really good for children, but eating together as a family and even doing your meals together, whether it's talking about it, shopping together, cooking the meal, and then eating it. All of this creates a positive atmosphere that's stress-free and is good for a positive attitude when it comes to eating the food. So we covered the 5 good mealtime habits today, and I want to ask you guys, What are your good mealtime habits? Let me know in the comments and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom.
Cookie Monster ain't got nothing on you. A well-rounded meal. Give them 2 what are called safe foods. I've never had celery before. Yes, Ezra? You are giving me a hard time to try to record this today, aren't you?
Daddy.
Yes.
Look at I look at balls.
You want to get down?
Okay.
A lot of the times children